Welcome to the On Stage podcast, where we deep dive into the power of music and entertainment. Here we are with the opposite band of Good Mary, Bad Mary. And can you give us who you are?
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Mike gestured towards me, so I guess I'm going first. So my name is Amanda Mack. I am the lead vocalist for the band Bad Mary. That's the short version.
That's right. Yeah, we're keeping it short and sweet and to the point. My name is Mike Staub. I am the bassist and backup vocalist for Bad Mary. I also do a lot of the. I consider it a considerable amount of the songwriting for the band, even though we are a band that does most of our songs kind of as a group together.
Mike brings in a lot of the bones.
I bring a lot of tunes into the studio before we start working on them as a group, as does David, our guitar player. It's kind of, the songs kind of start with either him or I, and then we bring them to the studio, and then the band gets together and does everything that way. Not pictured with us today are David Henderson, who is our guitar player, and Bill Mack, who is Amanda's dad, and he is our drummer. So Bad Mary is a 4-piece band: bass, guitar, drums, and vocals. And we've been together as a band for roughly 13 years now. And we've been Bad Mary for about 10 or 11, like almost 11-ish. And yeah, we're doing this whole original music thing.
Yes, and a lot of your music is drawn from influence from the likes of Blondie, who I love, and also the Ramones, Green Day, and the Dollyrots. How would you guys describe your musical style? Like, what style do you usually like to stick with? Because I know that last time we spoke, I think you said that you sometimes like to do some Dean Martin type.
Yes, definitely. We're a couple of crooners. I think what we always go for is loud, fast, and fun. That's kind of our vibe. That's what we're looking to do.
We get thrown under the umbrella of punk.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
A lot.
Yeah, punk rock.
And we have embraced that because it's really just fast, loud, fun, and whatever ends up on the page, that's what we play. Like, it's...
Yeah, punk rock, classic new wave, glam punk,
It's
punk and roll, a whole bunch of like made up things that all work.
I think that happened when we first started playing out. Even now, sometimes it's difficult. Like, we get put with a lot of different types of shows. So we'll play a hardcore show sometimes, and we know how to kind of change our set to fit with that dynamic a bit more. But we're still like campy, fast, loud, fun. Like, we're not as hardcore, but we can fit with that. And then if we have more like pop punk bands, we have songs and we can kind of fit in that area too. And like there's been a lot of different types of shows that we've played that definitely overlap into ultimately what we are, which if you've seen, we do live streams every week on Tuesdays, and it's very much just us in the studio talking with each other, being dumb and just having fun and playing through our songs. And that is very much like our style on stage. We're just all about, we want to have a good time. We want to connect with the audience, with the listeners, with anybody out there, and really just kind of share the music community. It's so fast, loud, fun. We like lyrics that have some kind of story to it sometimes, or it's really...
Yeah, it's punchy, it's bratty, it's whatever, it's all that stuff. Irreverent. I think we're a little irreverent as people and as a band, but in the end, it's all about having a good time. And we want to write and record the music that we want to perform live and have fun with. If we don't want to perform it live, then there's no point for us to write or record it. So whatever falls under that fast, loud, fun umbrella.
And sometimes it's just all trash.
Yeah.
Garbage, trash.
Amanda, what kind of music did your dad grow up with? I was thinking that Perry Como, maybe, Marian Anderson.
Actually, we did listen to like a lot of that stuff. So I grew up in a multi-generational house with my grandmother and my parents. And then my dad's mom, different grandmother, she was a big band singer when my dad was a kid. So he would sometimes come in and play the drums with the big jazz band and like orchestra. So he grew up kind of listening to everything. It was either Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, big band. Why can't I think of the orchestra? The Little Brown Jug. Who is that?
Off the top of my head, I can't think right now. But Bill also got really into rock and roll. Obviously, grew up listening to a lot of the Beatles, a lot of, the Rolling Stones, a lot of Cream. He's a big Cream fan. Vanilla Fudge, The Who, and also bands like The Band.
But also like he loved the Cars.
Yeah.
Like all that 80s kind of super produced but really cool rock like that. Like he loved that. Supertramp. I remember Breakfast in America was an album that we listened to like all the time when I was a kid. So that was his. But then living with my grandma in the house, we had a CD player that had like 7 CDs or something that we would just put on shuffle. So you would have like the Beatles, Frank Sinatra. You'd have some, like if I was in the musical in school or whatever, you would have like, oh, there's the cast recording for Grease in there, and like it was just a random
Grease Lightning.
Yeah, but
I got you.
That...
It's great. Yes, great music.
But so when people ask us like where did our style come from, I also grew up very much doing theater. That's how my dad and I started working together when I was younger, because he would come and play in the pit at the theater where I did shows when I was young. So that's why we have a full album that's the Return of Space Girl, which is like a concept story. I love that stuff because I grew up with the theater aspect, but I love the rock and roll. So it's a big mix. So yeah, we did listen to Perry Como, we did listen to Dean Martin and like all that stuff too. But I would love to. I say this all the time. We released a whole bunch of covers this past year, so we're probably not going to do another big cover release like that for at least a bit. But if we ever did one live, I want to do Fly Me to the Moon so bad. I want to do a cover of that song so badly.
Yeah. All right, I'll get on arranging it.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of our arrangements on our cover tunes. So it's usually like, hey, Mike, figure this out and teach us how to play it. So obviously we all do work together, but I can arrange that. I could figure that out pretty quickly. Probably, hopefully, 10 years later.
Let's play Trivia Band.
I love trivia.
Trivia's good.
Trivia Band.
I don't know if I'm good at it, but I love it.
Besides Bad Mary, what other band that comes to your mind that has a sort of like a violent type, trashy type, bad vibe name for it? And I already know one.
Well, there's a local band that we've played with that's like Sharp Violet.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's another, like if it's a name, Skating Polly is a band that I freaking love. They just came out with a new song.
Like a dark, trashy type name?
Dead Sarah.
Dead Sarah's a good one.
Dead
Plague
Sarah's
Vendor.
a great band also.
Plague Vendor's got a good one.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to think what else.
Yeah, Plague Vendor's a great band.
That's a great band and a great band name. I'm trying to think of what else. What else bands have like these dark, trashy kind of names?
I will
Obviously,
give you the first letter of the first name. V.
V.
Yeah, the name of the
only one I'm
group starts
thinking
with a
of
V.
right now
No?
Is the Veronicas.
You're gonna hate
but I
yourself when
wouldn't
you
say
hear
that
this.
that's a trashy name.
The Veronicas? No, they're not a trashy name.
No, that's what I didn't think of trashy, but when you said V, like that's the only word my brain
You ready, guys?
latched onto.
Let's do it.
Femmes.
Oh, yeah. I love the Violent Femmes. Love that band. What a great band.
It is, yeah.
What a great band.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like the progenitors of like what they would consider to be folk punk, right?
Yeah.
I love that band. What a good band. Really good bass lines in that band too. Like really,
What you consider, what color, like I was talking to someone about how saying music has color. What color do you think your music is?
Ooh, if you asked David, he would have a very definitive answer on that because he like assigns a color to everything. So we're we're gonna have our answer, but I'm interested to see what David will say.
We'll have to ask him and then report back. I mean, I know what it is.
I'm thinking it's like that pinky red.
Yeah, it's magenta.
Yeah.
It's magenta all the way up. That's our logo. It's magenta and black. That's kind of our whole vibe.
But like if you turned it up and then also made it like kind of neon fuzzy.
Yeah. I like neon fuzzy. Yeah. That works. Yeah, it's like a pink and black is really what it is because it gets the fun poppy pink color of everything, but you have the nice stark.
There's just a little
black
bubble
backdrop.
gum in there.
Yeah, a little bubble gum.
Just a little bit.
Chew that gum.
You're so cute.
Amanda, you were talking about earlier about you wanted to be like in movies. Do you have a particular type of character that you'd want to play?
I did a lot of like strange theater in college. I tend to go for like the weirder, darker shows, or like rock musicals. It's either like really weird dark theater or really campy musical. There's like or just farce comedy. But I would love to be in some like I would love to just be in one horror movie. I would.
Scream
Queen is really like I would have so much fun with that. I think
Scream Queen.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Sure.
And you have no interest in being in movies, Mike, or yes?
No. I am not a gifted actor at all. I don't know how to do it.
that's not true.
It's pretty accurate. I can
You've
sing.
done voiceover acting though. Like,
I have
think
done voiceover. I wouldn't mind doing something like that, but I don't really know what I'd want to do if I wasn't doing music because music has been such a part of my life forever. I'm really not good at much else. So it's kind of difficult. Like I'm serious.
That's
it's
not
like
true. I'm gonna answer for you because you're good at things. Get out of here. You're just like I'm terrible at everything. I think you could, and I'm gonna add this to.
Don't push me out of
no,
the mirror.
because you're like I'm the worst. That's
I
not
never
true.
said that.
You said you're not good at anything.
I said
that's a lie.
I don't.
I know that's a lie.
Ooh.
But I think that Mike could do cartoon voiceovers.
Are you
I also want to add that
crazy?
to my list of dream jobs if I didn't do music. So
Amanda wants to be a
Muppet.
Muppeteer. That's what Amanda
Oh,
wants to
why
be.
did I say that?
Really?
You know me better than me.
We
I would
should've-
love to work
we
on
should have
Sesame
answered
Street. I
for
should've
each
led
other.
with that. Yeah,
We should have answered for each
Okay,
other.
So Mike,
Amanda
answer
should.
for me. Hold
Amanda
on.
should totally be. Amanda's dream job, if she wasn't a musician, would be to somehow work with the Muppets. To be a Muppet. Was it
So
Muppeteer?
basically,
Yeah, a
it's like
Muppeteer.
near, far,
Yeah.
near.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Phenomena. Do, do, do.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, Amanda I used to do movies. My brother and I used to do filmmaking. Used to do movies. Everyone in my family's been either behind the camera, or in front of the camera, and it's fun. So I probably would have got into acting. Probably got my picture taken professionally from glamour shots, and you know.
It's all about the angles.
And here's the whole. I think you've seen this picture of Prince Philip where he's like.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's your answer. What else do you like to do?
Ooh, I like the beach, swimming. I'm really excited for summer.
Yeah, me too.
It's almost here. When that happens, it is very hard to get me out of the water. So that what else? I used to do art design for like stores in the area, so I would do like paint different chalkboard canvases and stuff. So I might be like doodling a lot. If I don't have an assignment, I kind of just doodle random things. So if I felt like drawing one day, I would have to be like, hey Mike, give me a picture idea, and that would be like an assignment that I could then go do.
Good.
Yeah, a lot of that. If I had time, I would definitely do some more theater, honestly. It's like a performance team sport, I feel like, anyway. And yeah,
For sure. Like
just trying to be
yeah.
outside, getting some sunshine, doing some theater, swimming, and chasing after everyone else's dogs.
Yeah, definitely.
And don't it feel good? Hey.
Do, 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 do. Yeah, oh, definitely. Hey, Mike, do you know how to cook? Do you know how to make anything, like even if it's toast or?
Yeah,
He's
I can
good.
make some foods.
Oh,
Wow.
he's good.
I could do it. I can make
Well,
some
that's what
foods.
you
Yeah,
need. Yeah.
I've been cooking a lot. I started cooking more during the pandemic because it was like I had this time and I was like, well, I'm not gonna eat the same thing every day, so let's learn how to cook stuff. So I'm not formally trained or anything like that, but
Google is great.
Google is great.
It's great resource.
Cookbooks are excellent.
One of my favorite books that I have is just How to Cook Everything, and it's a big book, and it tells you how to cook everything.
Cooking's also it's a big part of my family. My family we've always done a lot of cooking. Pretty much throughout. Every big holiday, big celebration is surrounded by food that we make. So I figured it might as well get in on it and carry the family kind of legacy and continue to do it. So yeah, I cook quite a bit. I make a lot of different things.
His mac and cheese is really, really good. I demand it every year on my birthday.
I do a good
now.
mac
So
and cheese.
It's my birthday.
You
so
mean
where's the
Amanda
cheese,
mac
please?
and cheese?
That's right. That's right.
I do find recipes that are like keto, or we have friends or family members that have a lot of different allergies.
Yeah.
So I actually do enjoy baking and stuff like that. If it's like, okay, this group of people's here, what can I make that everyone can have that is also really delicious? So it's kind of like similar to like what I was saying, like, okay, when I'm drawing, like I need like, okay, here's an assignment, go draw that. I'm like, okay, what's the group? What can everyone have? What are my parameters? Figure it out. And like I enjoy those kind of puzzles, and it's made me learn how to like make like rice flour snickerdoodles or whatever. That there was one birthday where Mike was he was trying not to eat too much sugar that year. So I was like, okay, it's a birthday though, you need a birthday treat. So like I figured out how to make this like peanut butter chocolate covered it was almost like peanut butter cups, but like you put them in the freezer.
Yum.
And something about the ingredients, it tasted like an actual peanut butter cup.
They're pretty good.
It's
Those
like
are good.
Reese's Cups and then Thin Mints, the Girl Scout cookies. Those immediately go in the freezer. Those are the rules.
Well, the one thing is, when I found out recently that my older brother him and his wife bought a bakery just up north here. So cakes, pies, cupcakes. I have like a strange desire to learn how to make not only a cupcake, but the best cupcakes, to the point where I like to have like a business where I sell cupcakes and start partnering with bakeries. And tell you the truth, guys, I've never been into a full-fledged bakery before to buy a cupcake. I mean, I've been to like Starbucks and donut shops and coffee shops that have bakery type goods, but I've never been inside a bakery and said, hey, I want your best donut. I want the panda donut. I want the TikTok donut. I want that. I haven't done that. I usually get the vanilla dips from our beloved Canadian Tim Hortons donuts.
Hey, Tim Hortons.
The sprinkles.
Timmy Hoes. Yeah, those are good.
Yeah.
I like a good Tim Hortons.
I like those. I want to learn how to make them because I want to learn how to make donuts. And I want to put like the onstage donuts and have a donut.
That'd be good.
Ooh.
You should do that.
Yeah, or
I would happily volunteer to be a test subject.
Yeah, the logo onstage podcast on it, like a cake and a donut with the on button that I have, and these are my donuts, and so you never know. Like you have merchandise, T-shirts, and you have Bad Mary T-shirts and stuff. And
we do.
yeah. So that's pretty successful for you. Why not? Why not? Well, guys, then I noticed that every podcast or every YouTube channel, even Think Media, when he first started his podcast, he has merchandise. Everyone has merchandise. Yeah, get merchandise. You can get like
maybe the donut shirt. That's the first.
Yeah, you do the onstage donut shirt.
I think I might do that, and make a like.
That's awesome.
I want to come up with a bagel or donut or cake that has my onstage podcast on it. People look at it.
You should do that.
Yeah, I was toying with it. Guys, you really have a feeling that you just want to, when you're dancing on stage, you want to take your guitar and break it on stage like most of these rock musicians?
I don't know. Well, Mike's shaking his head. I don't have the guitar to break, but I've definitely almost broken their guitars probably by flailing too much.
Yeah, you also almost broke my fingers.
I
Oh,
know I've punched your bass.
I've
So,
been punched.
Mike has
Flat out been
I-
punched
it-
by
it-
mistake.
I warned you before. It's just
There's
sometimes
arms
it
flailing,
happens.
yeah.
and sometimes the stages are small, and sometimes you get clipped.
So we've never intentionally broken
No.
any instruments, but I'm sure we've broken something. But I know during the set I've punched both your bass and David's guitar
So-
definitely out of tune because I like punched it up and I was like, oh, I know I knocked something. Ah, it was me.
So I want to tell you this much. I have no desire to break my instruments.
I broke this chair.
Yes, you did. I have no desire to break my instruments because I like them too much.
We did see the Misfits play
Yeah.
at
Madison Square
Square
Garden.
Garden. We
The
were
Garden.
lucky to be at that show. And Jerry only
Who's the bass player for the Misfits?
bass player for the Misfits. Jerry only broke so many. He just broke so many basses.
I know. Hey, man, that power to him. Because I
But
don't
it was
have
so
the heart
much fun.
to do it.
They were like, Jerry, like they were just all calling him out
They're
on
like,
it. They're
"Stop
just
it."
walking him out with new basses the whole entire show.
Yeah.
It's like that song's over, breaking
Yeah.
this bass. Next bass, this song's over, breaking this bass.
Yeah, I brought that up because I don't know if you're familiar with the story with a Canadian musician named Dave Carroll and his band Sons of Maxwell. So what happened is that he wrote a song called United Breaks Guitars because he took his guitar onto the United Airlines, and when he got it back, it was broken. So he wrote a song called United Breaks Guitars, and he did a whole video of where he's got the guitar on the airline, and United Airlines was like, "We're sorry, Mr. Carroll," and everything. So they replaced it. But yeah, and it says, so if you ever take your any of your instruments on an airplane, just be sure they're insured, huh?
They are, and also I loosen the strings and I lock the case. I do all that stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've
Bubble wrap.
yeah.
Put it in a little force field.
Yes.
I don't know why they don't supply all the instruments for you, so you don't have to carry that around. Like, I have to take my
It's
to
a
work all the time.
Yeah.
I should have.
It's an affinity thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't want to play on a bass I haven't played on before. You know, if I went to a club and just showed up and they had all the gear and they were like, "Here, use this bass," I'm like, I don't know this bass. I have not spent any time with this bass. There is an affinity to it. It's like a baseball player's mitt, right? Or like a conductor's baton. It's like you want to use the tools that you're used to using, or a chef's knife, right? All those things are very, very important to the person. And when you lose an instrument or break an instrument or an instrument gets stolen, it's a hefty loss.
That's happened.
Because there's a lot of time that
David had a guitar stolen.
Yeah, David definitely had a guitar stolen from
Wow.
him out of his car.
Yeah.
But there's so much time that you put in with those instruments that you learn how to use them, that if they break or get stolen or get lost, it's a setback. It's a huge setback. It's like losing a friend.
Well, I always find it interesting because drummers don't always have the ability to like take their instruments with them. Sometimes we'll play and it's like, no, everybody's playing this set. And, my dad a lot, he'll have to change how he plays like on the fly that day, because when he brings his set to our shows, when we can do that, which is most of the time, he'll play with 2 rack toms. So we'll play somewhere and they'll be like, no, we only have 1. So now he has to then kind of change his drumming a bit because their setup is missing one of the surfaces that he routinely hits.
Oh, wow.
So it's like on the fly, so when I think about drummers, like I agree entirely with what Mike said, like because I was at my aunt's house recently and everybody was just kind of sitting around in a circle, like playing music for fun. Like we weren't even fully playing like the same song together, but she handed me a ukulele and I play ukulele. I taught myself during the pandemic because I had a lot of time on my hands and I wanted stuff to do with those hands. So I taught myself on mine that I play at home, and I have 2 that I practice with. But then I went there and it's like it's not tuned the same way and the frets are spaced out a bit differently, and it's like, okay, my fingers are used to going this way on it, my nails are too long for this instrument, but like if I were to play it at home, I got it. Now I translate that to the drums, and there are some times where if we play a new place and my dad's like, okay, I know what they said their back line and their setup is and everything, but it said online that we did have 2 rack toms, and we get there and they've got 1.
Yeah,
so it's not a huge deal, but it's always interesting for me with that because like Plague Vendor, a band that we brought up earlier, has no rack toms. So their whole setup is entirely different. So it's it's just interesting what you got to do with what you have available to you.
Yeah, you got to use the tools you got to the best of your ability. That's really it.
I thought you guys have a road, like, what is it, a road crew or whatever, like they set up the drums for you and the bass and everything. All you do is you go up there and you grab everything and play them. Like, how long does it take?
Nah,
you
we
to
usually
set up the drums.
The drums are usually at the club, unless we bring our own drums, and if so, a couple like 10-15 minutes.
No, he's been my dad's been drumming since he's 4 years old. So he's very protective of his stuff, and also has it down to like his science.
Yeah,
so.
It's not as long as you'd think, but a lot of clubs, have at least the shells of a drum kit set up, and we usually just bring the hardware and the snare drum and the kick pedal, so it doesn't take that long to set up.
So, any crazy fan stories you want to share with us?
Not really. We have a lot of great fans and a lot of great people that listen to our music. So we don't have any crazy stories. It's just fun to meet the folks that we've connected with online or at a show.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's a crazy, like, oh, this fan did this wacky thing. But there was one time we were playing at a club and a guy just like decided to walk up on the stage that we didn't know. So there's always those things that happen where it's like, oh, hey, guy.
Wow.
But as far as like fans or people that we've interacted with and we've seen at multiple shows, it's always cool to meet a person for the first time that we've either like podcasted with or met online with their internet handle. It's like, I know you by your screen name almost. And it's like, oh, I'm XYZ772. It's like, oh my goodness, we've been talking for years. It's so awesome to see your face and meet you in person. So like that has been happening more recently, and that's awesome.
It's just cool. It's always crazy good.
How do you guys how do you balance maintaining a creative vision with making commercial promises?
That is a great question. That is a great question because we definitely have a timeline for our projects that we want to work on or that we are working on. So we'll be like, okay, we want to release something in the spring, or we plan to release something in the spring. And I'm a kind of artist where I will sit and record the same vocal line like 100 times until I'm like, no, that's the one. But you really need to work within the time frame, the parameters you have, and make the best version of what you can, in that time. Otherwise, like for me, I would never release anything if I waited for it to be perfect before I put it out.
We say this all the time with recording, and you get to a point where it's like we have the vision, the song is there, this is the best it's going to be. We always strive to create the best possible music, but like part of the thing too is if you look back, it's like, oh yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody has mistakes on it.
I don't
blatantly
hear it.
No one hears it, but
the bands.
If you talk to Queen, they'll tell you that they didn't play this correctly 100% and that correctly. And it's one of those things where it's like, it doesn't matter. It's one of the greatest rock songs of all time. So when we're putting our music out there, we just want to do the best we possibly can every single time. And in terms of vision, we're lucky that we're not really beholden to anyone except for ourselves. We're totally independent. So we don't have to change how we write anything. We've never had to alter the songs we wrote to fit a mold. We're just trying to write the best songs and produce the best music we can.
Our label is us.
Yeah, we're our own label. We're our own recording agents. We've worked with producers and stuff, and they've been awesome. But anytime we've worked with anyone that isn't us as the band, we wanted to work with someone who had a similar mindset and a similar vision. In terms of a commercial product, I think that people are going to want to listen. We want to make music that we want to play and have fun playing and put out there. And we know that there are going to be people who want to hang out and have fun with us. So that's kind of the whole vibe.
On the other side too, we know there are people that don't like us.
Yeah, that's fine.
And that's fine. Trying to, there has been a bit where it's like, as a musician in these days, you try to follow the trend, or like, oh, what's everyone covering right now, or what's the dance everyone's doing online, or what is the audio that everyone's using. And it's hard to stay on top of all of that in that timeline while creating a product that you think that people want to then hear. And you've got to take all these things into consideration and say, okay, what really matters to me as an artist? What's our goal? And if you try to write what you think people want to hear, it's not really going to be what you want to play,
Or
so
it might not be.
Or it might not
likely
be.
that it won't. Unless you're lucky.
Well, with that in mind, like if you're writing me like, I think that people would like this, not like, oh, this is really cool, I feel like that goes into that part well there.
Yeah.
It's a difficult balancing act to try to manage all those things, because you want people to like your music, but you can't just write it with that intention for everyone to like it. You've got to keep true to you.
Also, I mean, I've never thought like whenever I sat down to write a song, I never thought like I need to write something that is going to be mainstream, or I need to write something that X, Y, or Z people need to like. I sit down to write songs that I like, and and hopefully the band likes, and then we could put our heart and soul into it that way and share it with the world, and hopefully they like it as well.
How you write songs, or did it just come to you, I think?
There are times when, I'll be putting my laundry from the washer to the dryer, and I'll come up with a hook and just sing it out loud. And then, luckily, one of the beauties of technology and having a recording device in your pocket at all times is that you can easily just hum something down to be worked on later. That happens a lot, but sometimes you need to sit down. What's up?
I have so many unnamed voice memos that are like, oh, that line that like, we're like, okay, the melody's this, but then we don't know what to do with the vocal line for this measure. And like, I'll literally be in the shower and it'll come to me, and I'll have to sing it until I get out of the shower, or else I'm like, the second you stop, you're going to forget it. And then I record it immediately and then bring it to rehearsal that night.
But there are times though when, you kind of have to like push yourself to sit down and work on something till something comes out. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, while I'd love to tell you that there is a set process every time, it's always different. And each song has a different thing. There have been times where, I had a song and I brought it to band practice, and the band was like, I don't really think this is going anywhere. And then we don't work on it for a long time. Wow. And then I'm like, you know what? I think I could fix it. And then you fix it, and then we bring it in. It's like, oh, that's great. Let's go with that. So the creative process is always really varied, but with our band, it's always like we'll come up with stuff like on our own, and then bring it to rehearsal, and then we'll work on it rehearsal, and we'll throw the lyrics in there, and we'll get the drum stuff in there, bass guitar doing their thing, and it really comes together as a collaborative experience when we do write. And it's good because it's funny, because we're starting to really just hit the stride, and we're always hitting that stride with that and writing songs that we really love.
So we'll also, in writing, because we record everything at David's home studio, so we practice everything in that same studio.
Wow.
So while we're working on the songwriting process, we'll record like the first day that we've gotten together and played through it. Before that practice is over, we will record that version of it. So then when we go on our own ways, we can listen back to that and either go like, okay, I really love that part, or the vocal line there, I either need to change those lyrics, or the syncopation in that line, it needs to be changed a bit because it's not fitting well into the next one. And David's been great with also giving me a version that doesn't have any vocals on it. Mm-hmm. So if I'm like, if it's the first time that, or if the guys have like played through the arrangement, and then I'm just kind of given lyrics, because a lot of times when David will bring in like his bones of the song, because that's the basis of most of the songs starting out, is either Mike will bring in like, here's my arrangement, here's the bones with the lyrics and some vocal line idea, and then he'll pass it off to me to either like fill in gaps of lyrics, change some if they're not fitting, or I'll play with the vocal lines and whatnot. And then David, same kind of thing. He'll be like, here's the bones of this one. Here's the line of lyrics. I have this rhythm idea, but sing whatever you want to over it for now, and then we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So
it's a real collaborative experience.
All over. So at the end of that, I'll get versions that don't have me singing on them, because I'm like, I don't know. And that the versions with the vocals might be the only kind that exists like that, because by the time it's recorded on the record, it's totally different.
what's been your favorite moment or achievement as a band so far?
Oh, it's Japan tour. Like the first Japan tour is nothing. I'm not gonna say nothing comes close because the Warped Tour in 2015 was pretty great as well. But our first tour of Japan and bringing our music to the other side of the world to play in front of amazing crowds in Japan was a dream come true, and we're so lucky enough that we get to do it again soon. So I think that might be one of the proudest moments, one of the proudest things that I've done in my life. It's the thing I'm the most proud of. And as someone who grew up appreciating so much that came from Japan, to have our art appreciated by folks over there was just like, it was such a cool validation and such a cool, like, music is just a universal language. It resonates with people everywhere.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's definitely for me too. Because for me, like, it's something that I still can't believe we got to do, and am coming very close to, oh my goodness, we're about to get on a plane and do it again. And it's just wild. And it really is like a childhood, like, pipe dream coming true, of like, oh, it would be cool one day to see if we can. And it's like, oh wow, we're on stage in Japan and people are yelling our lyrics back at us. This is wild. So another singular moment, if we're talking singular moments, something that was closer to home, in Mr. Beery's, which is our home base is Mr. Beery's, and we did our first album release show for our last full album, the concept album, The Return of Space Girl, and we had released it, and then within that week, it was like 4 days later,
4 or 5 days,
I think.
Yeah. Wow.
So our audience had like 4 days to listen to it. Then we played the release show. It was packed, and they all knew the words. And it's wild to have a room full of people. We didn't release any singles from it. We didn't have any. We did on Patreon. We recorded it kind of as a community style, and we let that be a little bit of an open experience. But songs that we didn't play out, songs that we didn't really play on our live stream, to play them out for the first time and have the crowd already know them. And that was a validation, but that was just like okay, we're really all here to do this. And that kind of set the tone for everything going forward for me. But
yeah, sure, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
That's good. It's a wonderful time. It's all just about having fun and getting to know each other and being confident with strangers. And now we're not strangers. And it's so fun to hear about music and just go really deep and down into someone's psyche, try to figure out what makes them tick, what makes them who they are. And thank you, guys. So wonderful. So bye. Gonna end this stream.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There was a time when I thought